So people from presumably around the world, we've got a couple of friends in India who are going to watch this. Despite the inherent value in what you're saying, people might want to know a little bit about you. What is your name? Where do you live? Who are you?
Well, I'm Butch Tindell. I live here at Brazos de Dios here near Waco on the farm. Lived here for 30 years. And as far as who I am, maybe to give a context about what we may be sharing. I didn't grow up as a farmer. My parents weren't farmers. My grandparents were, but I grew up in a suburb. And it was on the edge of town where it was a small school, and a number of the students were farm kids, but I was not in that group. I didn't participate in Future Farmers of America, FFA. I had really no desire whatsoever to be involved in anything of agriculture. I mean, that was my grandparents, that generation, were in that generation that were moving away from the farm. That whole cultural transformation that happened in the United States in the 40s and the 50s, you know. And so I was a product of that, completely detached, you know, from the farm. It really probably wasn't until I was in college, and then my wife and I graduated, and I was involved in business. But her grandfather still had the ranch out in West Texas, and we would visit there and help on it at times. And her dad then returned to the ranch and began ranching. And you know, when you get married and you begin to have children, you begin to think about things in different ways. You begin to think about, you know, what am I going to pass on to my children? What are they eating? You know, what's the environment that surrounds them? What's conducive? You know, as Christians, we wanted our lifestyle, our culture to be conducive with what we felt like God was speaking to us and who we felt like God was calling us to be. And so, you know, we began to feel uneasy about the urban culture that we were a part of, and realizing it was not real conducive to what we were trying to impart to our children, as well as what we ate and things like that. And this was in the late 70s and early 80s, and so we began just real simply. I mean, again, we didn't know anything. I mean, her grandmother, my wife's grandmother, was a very avid gardener, very good gardener. My grandmother was, and we would visit and we would help in the garden some. And something began to really tug at us, you know, that there's something to this. In 1990, our community bought this piece of property, Brazos de Dios, and I had the opportunity to be able to participate here and help out in some ways. And it just, from there, it just began to propel us forward, you know, the need to bring this land to the place that it was supposed to be, and the opportunity to work here and horse farming and planting things much larger than our backyard garden. And so that it just progressed. And so that's, you know, that's kind of a synopsis of over 40 years in a very short period of time. But that's, you know, farming is not my background. All that we've learned over the years has been in the context of Brazos de Dios and within the community, and just the desire to help others and share with others. And, you know, as we would learn something, you know, you turn around and share it with somebody else, and then you get feedback from them and from their gardens, and it's just a process of learning, and it's an ongoing experience. In fact, many times I feel like today I know less than what I did when I started. I mean, it just seems like what there is to know is much more vast, much greater. And so it's an ongoing journey of discovery, of exploration. It's pretty exciting.